Welcome to the VA Today pod and videocast with your host, Gail Alexander, a podcast about VAs, for VAs, and businesses looking for the right VA to help to start grow their business. Find the right VA today and visit VA Today on YouTube and ava-ni.com to find out more about VAs and what they can do for you, and get in touch with the virtual assistants you need today.
Hi everyone, and welcome to today's The VA Today episode with Tammy Lorette. Tammy joins us all the way from Midland, Ontario, Canada, and she is the owner and chief VA in VA Connection. Also runs the brilliant Facebook group, Your VA BFF, and has just started as a leader for Femme City, Midland. So I'm really happy to have Tammy along today, and so welcome along, Tammy.
Thank you very much, Gail. It's nice to be here.
So today I so much to talk with you because you've been a VA for quite a while and have a lot of experience, and probably a heck of a lot more than I do.
Yes, so I've been a VA since 2001. Was when I first started my first business, and I of course went back to the corporate world, as sometimes people do, and since then I have been a VA again for the past 4 years. So I've been that was when I started my VA Connection, was 4 years ago, and I started your VA BFF Group about 1.5 years ago. Yeah.
And so you said you were a VA and then you went back into the corporate world and then back to being a VA. Why was it you went back to being a VA? Was the corporate world just not suitable for your lifestyle or what you wanted? Why was it you came back to being a VA?
So there was some circumstances that did take place. I kind of moved across the country, and so when I came back after that episode of my life, doing some travels and stuff, I came back and I decided that being an entrepreneur again was what was really my passion. And I had always kept in touch with a lot of my virtual assistant colleagues and friends that I had met back in 2001. And I wanted to get back into that again. And that was when I launched my VA Connection. And it wasn't long after that it's kind of like everything just comes right back to you again from when I started it back in 2001. Though a lot of things have changed tremendously since then. There wasn't a lot of social media back then, and there wasn't a lot of, the marketing advantages, I guess. Sometimes there are advantages and disadvantages sometimes, because there's just so many ways to market yourself, and it's sometimes it's hard to figure out what that is for you. And that's kind of how I like to help VAs now. So my business has transformed into more of a mentor program for VAs. I don't work so much with clients as I used to doing admin services. And so I've kind of moved into that whole mentor and support role as a virtual assistant now.
And so you were saying that, things have changed so much. I'm sure it has from the early 2000s. As you say, there's so much software and tools out there. So social media, it's changed. It's for good. Some people may say for the bad, but is there any particular way that you prefer, you think is a great tool that you prefer to use, or would advise any VA that they really need to have, or just any kind of basic software that any VA really should have?
Yeah, so a lot of times when VAs are getting started, it's sometimes, they may have just left their 9-to-5 job, or, they might not have a job at all, and but they have some administrative background. So for them to jump into being a virtual assistant, sometimes finances might be an issue. So as far as software for being a VA, I think there are a couple of crucial things though that are inexpensive, and that's kind of what I try to support people with as they're getting started. So one of them You know, if you're going to be marketing yourself through social media, which a lot of people do, or through your website, or even through networking with other people, you need to have some materials to do that. So if you're going to be making some business cards, you know, there's different ways to do that, but I do suggest that that is something that you actually invest some money in. Also, if you're going to be marketing yourself on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, you need to kind of have a program that you're going to be able to create some images or some quotes or some images to be able to post some graphics. So I suggest that you use either a PicMonkey or Canva or something like that. There are free versions of both of those, and they're very easy for people to start learning how to use those.
Love Canva.
Yeah. Also try and find a couple of free stock photo programs. The one that I like is called Pixabay. It's a great resource for people to find stock photos. You just go on there and you can download the photos. They do ask that you do leave a donation every once in a while, which is for the photographers, of course, that are donating their photos to these sites. So those are just a couple of things. Yes, and Canva, of course. A lot of VAs are using other programs like Dubsado or Zoho. You know, these programs kind of help them to launch their clients. So maybe getting into a program like that. I personally don't use anything like that for onboarding my clients. I am kind of old-fashioned. I have my package where, you know, I know that I'm sending them out a welcome letter, I'm sending them out a contract, I'm sending them out an invoice, and I kind of have those all in a folder. I keep track of everything like that. So I have my electronic folders. Having a Google, like a Gmail account and a Google Drive so that you can access and share your files as well is a great something to have set up too. Yeah, and I don't use any scheduling software. Facebook is great for being able to schedule posts. So if you're going into, if you have a group or whether you're scheduling posts somewhere, it's great to do that on your page as well. And if you are marketing yourself, I suggest that you market yourself on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great professional place to market yourself and for clients to find you if you're doing it the right way. You know, but you have to actually put the effort in to do that as well, because people won't find you unless you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah, talking about LinkedIn, that's how I find you actually.
Yes, exactly.
I've been using that tool quite a bit the last few weeks and months, and even I was talking to a man from Perth, Australia. He must be in his 70s and he's a VA, and it's one way of finding really good connections and contacts, somebody you would maybe not come across in any other capacity. And I guess the nature of our job, being a virtual assistant and a coach and a mentor, how do you go about meeting these? So LinkedIn, I think, is a brilliant tool, and it's definitely taken off the last sort of year or so, more in the capacity that people use it as a social business tool. Facebook's more a sort of a support network and a bit of fun as well as professional. So when you were talking about Facebook group there, I know you have quite a large Facebook group. Yours is 5,000 plus. So how have you found networking and building your support network and the people that you obviously do business with, VAs, and you offer your services to them? So how did you go about building your group?
A lot of networking and just making connections with these people, always engaging with these people. And so I started the Facebook group back in, like I said, about 1.5 years ago. And I kind of laid out my plan before. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew how I wanted the group to move forward. And of course, when you do something like that, you have to realize that there's so many other groups already out there. You know, I don't know how many virtual assistant groups there are on Facebook, but there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of them that are bigger than mine and a lot of them that are just starting out as well. I grew my group completely organically, so I just made sure that I post every day. I post 2 to 3 times a day. Some of those posts are scheduled, I also have an admin in the group that assists me, and I appoint an ambassador every month as well. So one of the virtual assistants in the group volunteers to be an ambassador in the group too, which also helps out and helps with the engagement. So always posting engaging posts and getting people, having open-ended questions so that people are able to respond and also support each other and get the support that they need. Also, when I first started to market my group, I did a search for virtual assistant groups or pages, and this is a tip that I give other virtual assistants as well when they're trying to market themselves, is to find other groups that support virtual assistants as well, and go into those groups, go through their description and see if they have a list of their daily prompts that they use. So if Monday, you can go in and share your links, and if Tuesday you can go in and give your favorite quote, mark those on your calendar and go in and actually do those things so that you're participating in these other groups. Whether it is that you're marketing your page or your LinkedIn account or your Instagram profile, if you're into Pinterest, these are great opportunities for you to go in and market yourself. Otherwise, you're just, because you can't market yourself on your personal profile, you have to be able to find other channels to be able to market yourself. And so the same thing with LinkedIn. I've been using LinkedIn probably, it's been quite a few years. And I actually do some training for virtual assistants on how to boost their profile on LinkedIn as well. Because it's, as you said, it has been growing quite a bit in the last year, and people are starting to use it a lot more. But if you don't use it, it just kind of sits there. It's like a resume. It's like a piece of paper that's just kind of sitting there on the internet. So you have to keep on updating it and making connections every day. And that for me is what it really is about. And that's why I called my business My VA Connection, was because it was all about making connections with people, whether it's through Facebook or LinkedIn, or going out into the community with Femme City, and making those connections with people. Because if you're not making connections with anybody and you're kind of just sitting behind your computer all day, it's kind of hard for people to find you, or for you to find your clients that you're looking for.
Or even just having a fulfilling working life as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And getting on and, talking with people like this on Zoom, or, just setting up, if you can find somebody to collaborate with, or having an accountability partner. There's so many people in these groups that are looking for the same thing. Yeah. And just being able to make those connections with people.
I think you were talking so much about connections there, that a lot of people think, networking, it's a horrible thing. But in actual fact, networking is not necessarily always about, finding a customer. It's finding connections that, as you say, would be an accountability counter, or even just a supportive partner, or just somebody that, has the same sort of outlook or even journey that you do, same ideals. So you might even just find a friend, looking at networking and online networking. Just, it doesn't have to be that, I'm looking for a business partner, I'm looking for something.
Exactly.
And that will support you in your work. And you never know, years down the line, that person may come back to you for themselves or for somebody else.
That's right.
So I think that's a mind shift that a lot of people need, not just virtual assistants, need to look at. And it can eventually be fun. I've met so many amazing people. When I say met, I mean virtually met, around the world, and it's really enjoyable to do. I like to talk, so that's another bonus.
Yeah, it's just nice too, because as virtual assistants or entrepreneurs or people that work from home, doing whatever it is that we do, it can get lonely sometimes. So I, like you, have met a lot of people online as well, and some of these people I've even met, and when you meet people in person, it's as a virtual assistant, I think it's a little bit different, because we don't tend to go out of our homes as much as some other people might if we were going out to meet clients, because we do tend to meet our clients or work with our clients all over the world. Yeah. So when we get to meet other like-minded virtual assistants, even if it is, whether it's in person or online, it can be a great support for you. And it kind of breaks up that day and doesn't make it feel so lonely sometimes, because it can.
yeah, there's only so much you can do talking to yourself in the wall.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were saying like working, and quite a lot often virtual assistants are working with SMEs and entrepreneurs and small businesses, and increasingly, especially for VAs, there are a lot of women. So I was wanted to ask you a little bit about the Femme City, but because it's quite similar to a passion that mine is, it's supporting and empowering women. You know, VAs are, apart from the man I was talking to today, increasingly every interview I'm doing is with women, and I guess it's just a lifestyle choice that maybe not chosen for us. It's something that we've ended up into, but it's you know, I think people don't realize how flexible and great the VA sort of working industry is, because it does allow women to, if they want to travel, or if they want to start a family, or if they just want to work, you know, around whatever needs they have for their family. So Femme City is probably quite similar to Lean In, and I guess it's all about supporting and empowering and advertising and promoting and supporting other women.
Exactly. Yeah. So Femme City is an organization that supports women in business, and they do this through many ways. So we are launching these groups throughout the world, Canada and the United States, and so I am launching a Femme City in Midland, and so the whole premises from behind Femme City is, of course, that they have many different ways to support women through education and support through Facebook groups, through their website. So you can go on there and you can watch a podcast on something that you might be interested. The meetings are held once a month, and so I will be the leader of Femme City Midland. So it's my job as a leader to bring these 25 collective women together. And so they are going to be attending the first meeting for free as a community member. And then from there, we will build the group with 25 business members that will be part of the group. So I'm very passionate about supporting women. And yes, you're right, there are a lot more female entrepreneurs in the VA industry. And there are a number of female entrepreneurs in this area as well. And I've always been quite a supporter of female entrepreneurs anyways. It's nothing, you know, against men. You know, it's just that it's really nice to be able to talk with like-minded people. And I mean, I have a number of men that support me through my business as well that are entrepreneurs. And, you know, I have one in particular that I often go to him to ask for advice too. But as far as Femme City goes, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm a little, sometimes I get these ideas in my head to do these things because I just love doing it. And then I think, oh gosh, now I have to get up and sit in front of these 25 women and represent Femme City and, you know, not be nervous about this. But I know that once I get a couple meetings under my belt, I'll be fine. But the women are very excited about this Femme City Midland and having an opportunity to hang out with like-minded people as well. And that's really what it's all about. You know, it's nice to be able to get support from people that are in the same kind of thinking process as you are, you know, whether it doesn't matter if, you know, there's a massage therapist there or a hairdresser or, you know, there's women that are photographers. And just trying to think of some of the women that working with MLM companies and things like that. So it's just going to be nice for them to be able to get some support and to market their business and promote what it is that they do. Because when you're in a small town or in an area like this too, sometimes it's hard to get yourself out there and to talk about your business. You know, because I think too, people do rely a lot on social media now to market their business, where, you know, this kind of takes you back to your roots where you're going out and actually talking to people and meeting with people and sharing what your experiences are and what it is that you're trying to do. You know, because I think it's a whole different mindset when you're an entrepreneur as well, you know, as opposed to having a 9-to-5 job. You kind of have to get out there and sell yourself.
Yeah.
And, because really ultimately that's what people are buying. It doesn't matter if you're selling, business cards or pens, you know what I mean? Like, you have to get out, but they're going to buy it from you if they like you. Yeah. So getting yourself out there is pretty important.
I think just you're supporting people as well as women, and it's like you are your best asset. So yes, you can always learn and train in any tool or software or whatever. You are your best asset. So it's selling you, because people will buy from what they like or what they associate with.
Exactly.
And so I think working in sort of like the meeting that you're about to have is quite similar to the sort of circle meetings that I'm going to be setting up as well. But I guess that really aligns, going back to your virtual assistant role now as a coach and a mentor. So it's quite similar. You're using those skills in this capacity as well. So for the VA industry, what specific services and tools do you offer for your VAs now that you're not so much working with clients individually yourself? You're working more with the coaching and mentoring and teaching new more experienced VAs.
Yeah, so I have my group, which you mentioned earlier, that's called your VA BFF Group, and it consists of almost 5,100 members right now. So when I came back into the VA industry this time, I wanted to support VAs more than I wanted to work with clients and things. I mean, I still do some general admin work for clients on the social media side more than anything. However, with the VA group, I wanted to be able to support them and show them kind of the ropes a little bit more about how to get started, doing their welcome package, their onboarding, just helping them with the things that they needed, getting set up on social media, whether it was Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, whatever it is that they needed to get support with. So the VA BFF group is a free group, of course. So I'm working towards having a membership program, which will be a paid membership program. We will have a monthly theme every month, and that's going to be able to help the VAs to kind of grow as well. I want it to be a space where they kind of feel like, they're talking to their best friend, which is what the VA BFF group is about as well. Yeah, so it's just, I want it to be a place where they can go and they can talk and they can find accountability partners. They can find people to talk to. They can get the resources and the tools that they need to move forward. So there'll be a number of templates, there'll be a number of worksheets, checklists, and resources in there that will help them to get started with their business. Because a lot of times when people come into the VA BFF groups, that's what they are struggling with, is they don't know where to start. They don't know how to get clients. So that's what the membership group is going to be about. And that's kind of what my focus is now, is helping them to get clients and helping them to know who their client is. Because that's what people struggle with as well, is, they offer general admin, but they are offering it to so many people, which is great. But they need to kind of hone in on who that ideal client is that they want and what kind of services it is that they are passionate about. You can be passionate about doing general virtual admin services, but what is it in particular? Is it, you like to create graphics and templates, or, work with Microsoft Office, or, maybe your ideal client is female coaches, or working in the beauty industry, or working with other virtual assistants, or social media. So just trying to kind of figure that out, and that's what my whole premise is behind being a mentor now, is kind of helping them to kind of get down to those nitty bitty details that they need to get down to, because the spectrum is so big when they first start out, and it's scary when you first start out, because you don't know where to get your clients from. You don't know, which group to belong to, or, whether you should start a website, or, and I think they get caught up in all of these details. And, my whole idea behind this is just to kind of get them to start somewhere. So I want to be able to provide them with those resources that will just help them to get started.
So that's good. It's like a really sort of basic step-by-step process. because, as you say, it's such a large area that you can work in any different sort of genre. It's kind of sort of what I would say, you'd say like niching down. You sort of find your niche. And I know from personal experience, it was quite hard to think that, you know, what did I really want to do? And so I'm now sort of aligning more with sort of video marketing, something, because it's something I really enjoy doing. And I guess if you find that area that you're good at, but you enjoy, it's going to make life easier for you and for your clients as well. So even helping new VAs or even more experienced VAs find that niche that's right for them, or even a change. They may have been doing it for a long time and wanted to find a change of direction, because it says things have changed so much. So something that you've been right years ago maybe isn't now. I see, like, from your past history, you worked quite a bit in the sort of health industry as administrative assistant. So there's quite a few VAs out there that maybe are specialists for veterinaries or for doctors or for larger companies like PwC and that kind of thing. So there is quite a very many different ways to go. So trying to get your head around that is quite a minefield. So and I guess maybe stops you from actually getting on and doing it. So just getting a bit of support.
It's very overwhelming.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
So would you say that talking about becoming, you know, finding that right group that you're a member of, and because the nature of the work is virtual, do you ever find yourself feeling isolated or lonely, or?
I personally don't, because I've made sure that I've made those connections with other groups. So I've been introduced to people along the way, and you kind of have to, you know, you find people that you trust in the industry as well, and you find people that you know, you reach out to and you figure out if they're the right person for you to kind of belong to. So when I talk about things like that, like certain groups that I'm part of as well, and people that I work with closely, as far as people that support me. So I have a couple of, probably 3 or 4 groups that I am part of, that I really look up to these people, and they inspire me and they help me to grow as well. And we all kind of need to have that. I mean, I know that people think that having a coach or having a mentor is an expense, but it's an expense that is, you know, just part of your business. It's something that you have to invest in that, because it's an investment in yourself, and it's going to help you to grow. And I think I got a little off track with that question, but so making those connections with other groups, it has been a very important part of helping me to not be so isolated. I have people that are in the industry that help to support me. One of them is a girl named Angela Wills. I've been working with Angela for almost 4 years, since I got back into the VA industry, and she owns a company called Laptop Lifestyle Business Club, and she supports a lot of women as well. There are some men in her group, but she also supports women. And she was recommended to me from a friend, and, you know, this was kind of back when I was just trying to create my website. And they said, you know, you have to talk to Angela. And so from there, it developed into, you know, learning how to do WordPress and building my website. And then I joined her group, and then I joined her coaching program. And then I did some virtual assistant work for her. And so, you know, that whole thing just evolves, and I still work with Angela today. I'm still part of her membership group. And so if I have any questions, you know, there's those certain groups that you kind of turn to, and it's that kind of helps you feel less isolated when people just get it, you know, because there are no stupid questions. And sometimes you go into these groups and you're like, oh God, can I ask them how like I create a vector image or something like that? You know, like, are they all going to think I'm stupid for asking this question? But you'll be surprised. You go in there and you ask these questions, and, you know, you'll get, you know, anywhere from 5 answers to, you know, all of a sudden you'll start this chain of conversation going on, that everybody else was thinking the same thing or wondering the same thing. And, you know, maybe they were too scared to ask, but you just have to reach out to those people so that you don't feel so isolated. Yeah. And I've also made some really great connections with some people that I've even met in the area. So I, every once in a while, will connect with a couple of those VAs, just whether we're private messaging each other, or we'll jump on a Zoom like this or a Facebook, call, just to, bounce some ideas off each other, or just to say, oh my God, I am so frustrated today. Or, sometimes, because you have to vent to people. And sometimes I can't really vent to my boyfriend or my family, because they don't get it. They don't get the whole working at home thing. They don't get why I am frustrated with Facebook, or frustrated with a product that I'm launching or selling. They don't understand. So when I can bounce some ideas off of some of the women that are in my group, or some women that I've met, or people that I've been friends with for a long time through the VA world, it's you kind of need to make those connections so that you're not feeling so isolated all the time.
So it's not just an investment of your time and
no.
investment of money as well in groups, membership groups, because it is an investment in your business. You get so much back as well. Definitely worth for your mental health, having somebody to vent to.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I had that moment yesterday when nothing was working, no software was working.
Yes.
But yeah, we all have those days. And so when you put it in a group, there's no silly question. In fact, the only silly thing is not asking that question. And
exactly. Yes.
I love that, is I can ask anything and don't look stupid.
Yeah.
So how do you personally promote yourself? I know a lot of people find, and for myself, it's been word of mouth, rather than using social media gets yourself out there, but actually using it to get business. Some people do, some people don't. It's more just building up my presence, I guess, for me, and then it's really word of mouth that I've built up my business. But how have you gone about over the years building up your business?
Mm-hmm. I would say that it's probably the same thing. It has been a lot of word of mouth. I've made myself present with a lot of people that are leaders kind of in the industry as well. And I collaborate with them. I don't find that there's a lot of competition, or I don't like to look at the VA world as competition. I think there's a lot to go around.
Yeah.
And I would personally rather collaborate with people. So my whole idea behind growing my business has been to collaborate with these people. And so I will go in, and because I am not the expert at everything, so I go and ask these people for advice, or if I go into their groups and there's a question that's in there and I can ask it. So I have my whole idea with my networking, with the word of mouth behind it, is that I have always just been present and engaged and made these connections and collaborated with these people. And now I am being looked at as more of, people are mentioning my name in virtual assistant groups. If you need any help, talk to Tammy. Tammy has this group, and I am seeing people making those comments, and it's like, wow, I've finally kind of got myself out there, and people are actually starting to notice. But it's because I do speak up a lot. It's because I'm not sitting behind the scenes. I have like 5,100 members in my VA BFF group, and I don't hear from a lot of them. But the ones that I do hear from, the ones that are always engaging and always talking in the group and always answering questions and always making posts, those are the ones that if somebody is looking for somebody, I am going to recommend them.
That's the one.
So the whole, you need to, that's word of mouth again, right? Like it's when you're in this kind of a world, you need to make yourself present. You need to get yourself out there. I do Facebook Lives all the time as well. And, when you do that first Facebook Live, I'm telling you, it took me probably, yes, like I know, like you're doing these Zoom videos all the time, but my first time doing a Facebook Live, I probably sat there with that camera on before I actually push that go live button. I did that probably a dozen times before I finally had to do it. And it was because I have guest speakers in my group all the time, and the one guest speaker was not able to attend for the scheduled time that I had her, and I had to go on. And I did, and I was like, wow, that was really not as hard as I thought it was.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like doing this, right? Like
it's just a chat.
Yeah, I mean, you have to get over it. And so I was actually trying to get other people to come into the group to do the same thing, because I think you have to put yourself out there. You know, that is how you're going to get noticed. And that's how I have built my group to 5,100 members, is by going into other groups and getting noticed, and, you know, people always seeing my name and always seeing my group name, seeing my business name, and talking to the right people, talking to some influential people in the industry, and getting them and getting recommended by them. You know, if somebody else is doing a live, and you go in there and you start asking questions and or giving, you know, commenting or whatever it is, you know, you're always getting yourself out there, especially if you can find people that are doing webinars through Facebook Live, and you go in there and you start commenting and asking questions, and people are going to see your name. You just have to keep on getting your name out there.
Yeah. You're right. It's getting your visibility out there, and it really isn't that scary. I've done a few Facebook Lives where I've just quickly asked a question, and I'm sitting in my local grocery store with no makeup on in my hair because I'm about to go to the gym, and you just really get over it, because the group that you're in is going to be more often than not like-minded people that do exactly the same thing as you from day to day. So it's just like having a chat with somebody that, you know, you bump into in the store. It's exactly just asking a question in the same way. It just happens to be in a video. I know when I'm doing video or interviews for events, I have a wee arrow pointing to the camera rather than getting them looking at the screen. So it kind of focuses where they need to look, and then takes them away from looking at their own picture, because it's like,
yes, exactly. Yeah.
And it's less distracting. It's just simple, wee, tiny tips and tricks that make such a difference. As you say, you know, getting yourself known is half the battle as well, because you're offering a service. And so people need to know who the service is coming from. So
that's right.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah.
So over the years, from changing from VA and working with the health center and the mental health centers that you have done, and then going back to VA, but becoming like a mentor and a coach and offering those services, what challenges have you come across? Have you had many sort of difficulties, or has it been fairly simple transition, or what challenges really?
I think for many people, and myself included, one of my challenges has been comparing myself all the time to other people and thinking, okay, somebody else is already doing this, you know, so, you know, what makes me the expert? And so constantly doing that. I mean, you have to, I find that the biggest thing in this world for me anyways, and maybe for a lot of other people, is mindset. And sometimes that is a challenge for me because I don't practice the more positive mindset that I need to be practicing all the time. So to get started back into the industry, the whole transition was kind of, I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew what my passion was. I knew what I loved doing. But then when you start going on Facebook, or you start going on the websites and looking at other people's, what they're already doing, and you're like, oh gosh, somebody else is already doing that. But what people need to really think about is, and to get over those challenges, is that nobody does it like you do. Even if somebody else is doing social media management, you know, and you're thinking like, oh my gosh, there's so many people doing social media management. or there's so many people that are mentoring VAs, or there's so many people that are selling memberships, paid memberships, you know, but nobody else is doing what you're doing. Nobody else is offering the same things that you're doing. It might be the same idea, but it's not exactly the same as you. And I think that the biggest challenge for me has been that I'm selling myself, really. I mean, and that's kind of what we were talking about earlier, about getting yourself out there, but that's what I'm selling. So when people are going to buy my products or my services, my mentor services, or buy into my paid membership, they're going to be buying into that because of their connection with me. And so sometimes I have to change my mindset. And this is another thing that I talk about in, you know, when I'm making connections with other people and talking with my mentor or my coach, Angela. And she is constantly, Tammy, you have to change your mindset, change your mindset. So I highly suggest that for other VAs or people that are working from home, entrepreneurs, that they look into some sort of, if you're having trouble, if you're always finding yourself being negative or finding that you are having all of these challenges all the time, or comparing yourself all the time, is to invest in some sort of education to help you to change your mindset, because I think it's so important that you work on that every single day and every night. It'll make such a huge difference in your business and moving forward and helping you to be more successful.
I think you don't realize that it's not even just for, you know, your business. It's just general good life experience, you know, getting rid of that imposter syndrome. And
yes,
everyone has it. Everyone goes through it. It's like, even when I start these videos, I'm going, I haven't been doing this for that long, and I'm talking to somebody that's been doing it for years. But as you say, it's the difference in delivery, and there's so many different styles and cultures that one way somebody's doing it for someone is not suitable for another person. So as you say, collaboration, it's not competition. There's enough work to go around, and all these different sort of buzzwords and tools. They're so true.
Yeah,
it is about the person finding the right fit for them. And
that's right.
You know, it doesn't matter if somebody's doing the same thing as you. They might do it in a different style to you, and it just doesn't work for your client, but it works for them. So not to worry about that. You know, there is so, I mean, 7 billion people on the earth. There's definitely enough to go around.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
but it's easier said than done.
Yes, and that's right. Yeah, it is easier said than done. So, but you have to, you know, and then you have to change your mindset to believe that, you know, people want you to offer these services, and people want to buy your products, and people want to work with you. You know, so you have to change that mindset to actually believe that, and it will come true.
So it's work on you.
Yes.
Yeah. There's one thing I did want to actually ask you about, because I saw in your social profiles, was you're not afraid to call yourself a VA, and that's something I've come across. And just looking at people's profiles and different styles, it's like a VA and EA, an executive assistant, a personal assistant, a freelancer, a consultant. And does it really matter? Because I know some people think, oh, does a VA sound okay? It's just a VA. And I'm like, no, you're not just a VA. You're a virtual assistant that offers a lot of experience and a lot of skill. But have you found that changing your title or calling yourself a different thing makes a difference?
I think for some people it might make a difference. It depends on what kind of services they are offering. You know, there's also online business managers, people, OBMs, or social media manager, but it depends on what it is that you're doing. If you're a virtual assistant and you're offering admin services virtually, then yes, I think that it's perfectly 100% that you should call yourself a virtual assistant. We have had this discussion a lot in the group, and some people say that it's, you know, they don't want to call themselves a virtual assistant. And I think that they must read something that tells them that it's not a good thing to do. But if you're a virtual assistant, you're a virtual assistant. And I think that you should call yourself a virtual assistant and be proud of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
If I think that what it is that you have to find out what it is that, again, going back to being passionate about something. And if you are passionate about being a virtual assistant and you know the services that you offer and you know who your ideal client is, those words are going to come out of your mouth so easily and so magically that people are going to get exactly what it is that you're doing. And you're going to be able to figure out if it is a fit for you to work with them.
Yeah.
But if you're a social media manager and you can talk about, the insights of Facebook and the behind the scenes of, how to create your LinkedIn profile or how to boost your Instagram, then yes, I would suggest that you call yourself a social media manager.
Yeah.
If you're an online business manager and you provide, support for startups and for doing project management and helping small businesses to get their business going, then call yourself an OBM. But I don't think that anybody should be afraid to call himself a virtual assistant. I think that this is a huge growing industry and that it's, I think that people are starting to realize that they might need a virtual assistant and, they're hearing about what a virtual assistant is and they're realizing that it's something that they need as opposed to trying to figure everything out themselves. And they're being more educated on what the virtual assistant world or industry is and what a VA can do for them and how they can find VAs. And so I think that calling yourself a virtual assistant is a great thing and using that to your advantage and using that in your marketing and when you're networking with people.
I think it's just the fact that so many people maybe haven't heard about it. So it's a case of education.
Exactly.
Teach them about it. And then when more people know about it, they'll actually think, that's actually a really cool job because it is. You can do so much. And it can be so different every day that I'm a virtual assistant and it's great. I think that positive mental outlook that we need to definitely instill in everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess lastly, what I really wanted to ask you is, so you have been doing your business for quite a while now. Where and how do you see your business growing? So what's your goal for the next 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, I guess? Where do you see yourself going?
Well, I want to have my paid membership program well on its way within the next, that should be well on its way within the next couple of months. We're kind of in the last quarter of 2018 already, and so I am looking at focusing my time getting that going, and I want to make sure that I have the right resources and the right platforms that I'm using so that the VAs get the best out of what it is that they're paying for. I'm also looking at doing a lot of affiliate marketing, so having some passive income. And so that's kind of where I am going with that. And having, I would like to have some VA mentors working with me so that they are able to support new VAs as well. And so I will be building that onto my program too. So moving forward, that's what I want to have. I want to have the membership grow. I will still have the VA BFF group, but I want to have a paid membership for virtual assistants and grow my mentor program with VAs and working with them to help them get started, because I don't think the VA world is going anywhere. I think it's actually going to get so much bigger and better. And I think that support is needed for new VAs to get started. And I just want to be able to support them. I don't want this to get too, I don't want it to be too cumbersome or complicated for them. I just want this to be a membership. It's going to be called the VA BFF Home. And it's going to be a place that they can feel comfortable and feel like they're getting the support. And because, like I talked about earlier, it's kind of scary for them at first. They don't know where they should go, how they should get started. And I just want to be able to help them to figure that out and to provide them with a mentor through the membership program as well, somebody that they have to talk to, and working on promoting some of my other friends that are in the industry as well, that I've come up with some great products and some great services. and working with them through affiliate marketing and having some passive income and being able to offer the VAs some affordable products and services though as well. And that's kind of what it is all about for me, is making it affordable for VAs, because as we know, getting started in the industry, sometimes it's, you don't have the money to get started. And so I want to make this affordable for them, and I want to make it so that it's not scary for them, and I want to be able to support them to get through this. So that's where I'm hoping to be within the next year, 5 years, 10 years, and just still working at home and supporting female entrepreneurs and growing Femme City and in my town, and being able to make connections like this with people like you and with other people on the in the virtual world.
That sounds perfect, and something I could really do with making a 1, 5, 10 year plan, because you have that goal in front of you, you strive for it, you work for it, and you attain it. So doing a bit of sort of homework myself from this might actually happen after this. So Tammy, that has been fantastic advice and example of how a VA should go about things, or how they could even go about finding what they need to know to set themselves up, how to go about networking, how about, they need to look at themselves, invest in themselves, and treat themselves as their best asset. So I really appreciate the time you've taken to sit and talk to me and the viewers today, hopefully. And I really wish you the best of luck with growing your paid membership group, something that definitely any new VA will find massively helpful. And I look forward to seeing it grow and grow and grow. It's already big. I'm sure it will be massive. So hopefully we'll see you again soon. But for now, thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of the VA Today.
Well, thank you so much, Gail, for having me. I really, really appreciate it. And I think what you're doing is amazing. And it's a great tribute to the VA world and VA industry. And I can't wait to see everything that you are putting together.
Great. Well, thanks very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.